Hello Steelers, welcome to another bench report, another hobby update. This one, I've been quite busy this week. I've done quite a lot of painting. First of all, the first thing that I painted was the Wellington and his Staff. These had actually come from Magister Militum. I bought them ages ago when I first got the Napoleonic epic stuff from Warlord. I just bought these as well, just as really to see how they fitted in, and I kind of wanted some CNC figures. I did Napoleon, obviously for the French, and now I've got Wellington and a couple of staff members here as well. So that was quite nice and easy. Just put them on a big base. That'll do perfectly for GDA2 for the CNC figure. And of course, you know, if you're gonna have anybody, you may as well have big nose, haven't you, really? And also then, keeping with the Napoleonic stuff, I went and painted the Scots Grays. There's only 12 or so of these figures in the actual box set that you get, because there's only a few on the British Dragoons sprues, or the heavy cavalry sprues, I think. There's only a few of those on there, so these didn't take very long at all, but you know, it's something that I'm kind of wanting to be painting for a while. So I'm just trying to churn my way through some of the cavalry as well at the moment. So this was just another little easy unit to do, and very pleasurable, and I like the Scots Grays. I mean, who doesn't, to be fair? And then also finally as well, I managed to actually bash out a unit of US infantry platoon. So this is for Charlie Don't Surf for Vietnam. This is the third and final of those platoons that I've been working on. This is for the US anyway. I've still got another platoon of VC to do, so I'm going to do those at some point. But what this means now is that I actually have enough figures to play the Great Rice Hunt scenario from the Surf's Up supplement for Charlie Don't Surf. So I'm going to do that at some point. I was going to do it this weekend, but this weekend is also very busy, so I might actually put it off till next weekend. This weekend's quite busy because I'm going to be going to Steel Lard, which I'll talk about later on. So I've kind of got an idea for filming a game this weekend, but it's not going to be Charlie Don't Surf, so don't get too excited, I'm afraid. But speaking of and sticking with Vietnam, in the post I got this Men of Company B. This is from Peter Pig. Quick delivery, as always, came through after a couple of days after ordering it. This is their Vietnam game. It's based on a grid. It uses, you know, pretty much the same setup as I've already got for Charlie Don't Surf. So I thought, well, I do like things like Squarebashing and PBI by Peter Pig on their grid systems, and other games I've played of theirs I've liked. So I've kind of had my eye on this for a little while as well. It's relatively cheap. It's only 20 quid, 19 quid, and it's 110 pages or so, over 100 pages of rules in there, and quite nicely produced. I mean, you know, you get what you get with Peter Pig. I'm not looking forward to reading it, but I'm fairly sure there's probably got some quite nice rules in there. But we'll see how that goes, and I will do, you know, at some point a review of that once I've played some games of it as well. But speaking of playing, it has also been an incredibly busy week for playing games. Last weekend, I did mention it in the previous bench report. The decks came over on Saturday. We'd got 2 scenarios left of the Jitra campaign, the Driving Charge. So I suggested that we came over and had a games day. What was interesting was, I didn't realise it until I'd set everything up, is that it was actually the first face-to-face war game that I've had in the war room, the new war room, that we've been here nearly a year. I've played plenty of games on my own, but never with anybody else. We played board games, but no actual war games. So it was quite nice to have that inaugural game finishing off a campaign. So yeah, we basically played the last 2 scenarios. To win, in order to win, I had to win both of the scenarios. In order for Dex to win, he had to win at least one and then do a counter attack, and on whichever scenario he had won on. So then we would play on to that. The first one was up against the Leicesters on the main stop line of the Jitra line. This had an anti-tank ditch in it, loads of minefields. It just went from bad to worse for me, to be honest. I put in 2 Chi-Has, which are medium tanks for the Japanese. They got up the road. I was going to use them as mobile artillery, basically. And I put my mortars out, my knee mortars, but I put them way too far forward, and they just got shot to pieces. Absolute complete mistake on my part. So I had no support, no close artillery support. I then tried to feed in infantry into the attack against some his infantry over on trenches. It just wasn't working. I was able to make him pull back at least to the pillbox at the back of the table, but I was the word for the day was reinforce, or the phrase for the day was reinforcing failure, and that's literally what I kept doing. I did try to do a bayonet attack on his trench. I managed to basically deploy a section with the gunzo, the sergeant. They charged into close combat. I then also, as part of that, I also moved forward my jumping off point and then deployed a second section, and both of these piled into the Leicesters in their trench, but it was literally the worst roll I've ever done in a close combat, and both my sections were sent scattering back. Both were broken. Both were, banjaxed with tons and tons of shock, and I just couldn't break them. I broke my own rule, basically, pinned them and then going to attack. But I kind of, my blood was up and I was in the. I just wanted to finish it as quick as possible at that point, and it just didn't work. So Dex won the first one. Then we went on to the Jats in rubber scenario, and this was fought over a rubber plantation with the Indian Jats. And again, I got really far forward. I had a tank because I'd actually forgotten how many force support points I had, and this time so I actually had more than I thought. So I pushed forward with the tank, and I managed to get onto one of his jumping off points, but he took out the tank, or at least caused enough shock with a 2-pounder, which actually did something this time. And meanwhile, I was again up against a Jat unit in trenches. I was just slowly picking away at, but he was as well. And because we were fighting in the rubber trees, you could only see, I think it was something like 12 or 18 inches. Wasn't very far at all, so it was real close combat fighting. He managed to hit me in the flank. He smashed up one unit, sent them skedaddling, and then he also piled back in again with another unit, and also finished off another section of mine which had already been battered from fire previously. It was a real mess, and again, once again, I was just reinforcing failure throughout the game. My mind wasn't in it, but both the games were fantastic. It came down to it was a 4-2 win to Dex overall on that campaign, and a complete and utter clear win on his part. So once Dex had cleared off, the next day I set up for a game, this is on Sunday, for GDA 2, which I've filmed and I'm currently editing it at the moment, so that will be out on the channel soon enough. I say soon enough, a few months I think from now, but it'll be on there. I wanted to get my epic stuff on the table. And this was just a chance to basically play a very generic game based roughly on Waterloo, Quatre Bras, British on a hill, as you would expect, on a ridge, with the French attacking. It was 3 brigades on either side. And it was kind of like a tester for me, really, just to try to remember the rules as much as anything else, but also to just to play through a game and see how it works. I didn't put any cavalry in because I just didn't want to add any extra special sauce and extra rules into the game for the first time that I'm filming it. So, as I say, keep an eye out for that. Really enjoyed it. Great game. There was lots of good fun in there, and that will be coming on that channel soon enough. Then on Thursday, I took Squarebashing down to the club and introduced both Dex and Steve to it. Now, neither of these have played it. Dex had played AK-47, the new one with the grid. He'd got mixed feelings about it, so this was kind of a chance to show him how other Peter Pig gridded games play as well. And Squarebashing is by far one of my favourite games. I absolutely love it. I've not played it for a couple of years. Last time I played it was on the channel. There are some battle reports of it kicking about on the channel if you check those out. But it was basically a British attack in 1917 against German positions. Steve was the British, Dex was the defending Germans. Steve's artillery could not hit a barn door. He dropped a point barrage on the Germans, but it actually landed short and only hit one of the 3 units it was aiming at. Then unfortunately he got a suppression barrage from Dex, who basically just stopped him in his tracks for at least a full turn, while Dex was rolling the countdown timer and almost finishing the game. Between them, they had to capture at least two of 3 of the objectives on the table. Dex was holding all three at the start. Then Dex tried to gas Steve, but he fell on his own troops, which helped Steve manage to actually capture two of the objectives, the crossroads and one of the smashed up farms. So then Steve thought, right, well, I'm just going to, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to consolidate my advance. He did, but right on the very last turn, the countdown timer was on 1, and Dex basically had one turn left. He counter-attacked onto that crossroads and just swept Steve straight off it, capturing two of those, two of the three objectives, and winning the game literally in. And it was a brilliant turnaround, really good game. The lads seem to enjoy it a lot, and I think hopefully we'll go back to it. What I'm going to do as well is this weekend I'm going to set that game up again, and I'm going to film it for the channel because I do like Squarebashing. It's such a good game, and I've not filmed a game of it for a long time, so I want to do that. So I'll probably do that on Sunday. I think this Sunday. The reason I'm not doing it on Saturday is because I'm recording this on Friday. Saturday, tomorrow, is Steel Lard over at Patriot Games in Sheffield. I'm going to be playing a game, I'm going to be running a game of O Group, Crossing the Veer, from the Normandy supplements. So Americans versus Germans. I've got 4 players and we're going to be playing it all day because O Group takes a little while to play through. I thought let's have a little, let's take it easy because I don't think anybody's played it before, so I think it's going to be just a way of introducing players to a new game and a new system like that. So it'll take a while, but I think it's going to be good fun. It's a nice infantry attack game. It's one of the ones I use generally to introduce players to it because there's nothing too complicated in it, but it is quite a nice simple attack defend game, well, like I said, with mostly infantry, so you're not going to think about tanks or anything else like that in there. But I'm really looking forward to that should be good fun. So as I say, I will talk more about that next week in the next update, just because obviously it hasn't happened yet because this is the Friday. Right, I will leave it at that. Not much else has happened. I say not much else has happened. Quite a lot has happened, but that's been about it for my hobby week this week. There'll be more stuff happening next week, I'm sure, and as I say, over this weekend as well. So, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Please also check out Patreon and channel memberships. And if you're buying anything from Warlord Games, do check out the link down below. It is an affiliate link that will give me a little bit of percentage back on anything that you buy through Warlord Games and through that link. And I'll say once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next Storm of Steel video.